Welcome back. Glad to see you here. And I missed you, of course. It's always fun talking behind a microphone right here because of my angelic voice that I have. Yeah, that last video is kind of a Debbie Downer. It goes to show you that you know, a police officer's, law enforcement, whoever we are, first responders' life is never the same. They talk about, well, a routine traffic stop. No, no traffic stop is ever routine. It is a traffic stop. Sometimes they go sideways. Sometimes you're done in 15 minutes. Um, Moving on from the kind of the darkness of the last video, I think that probably one of the funniest, or I don't know if you want to say funny, most intriguing video that's out there is the night that I got involved with a pursuit with a Dodge Viper. And this is how it goes. So we're sitting there, and it is probably 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're on the opposite side of a bridge, and we're in this parking lot, nose to tail, just kind of talking with each other, seeing what's going on. Sectors, blah 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 blah. It's pretty dead out there, and you can hear this car coming, and it is rumbling. It's like, and it's coming down the hill. And I look over to my right, and I'm like, holy shit, that's a nice looking Viper right there. And it comes down, and you could kind of tap the brakes. The brake lights came on a little bit, and then it kept going. It was a flashing red. So my buddy that I was talking to says, "Hey, yeah," he's like, "All right, I'm out of here." Well, then I had another friend pull up, or another officer pull up, and we started chewing the fat. So we're listening, and we're just kind of talking back and forth, and the radio pipes up, and it's the first officer that I was talking to, and he says, you know, blah 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 to dispatch, copy a 28, which is a registration on a vehicle. So probably within a minute, it comes back. They do 1061, 1043, and go ahead. Yeah, that vehicle's coming back stolen out of Minnesota. And I'm like, oh hell yeah, here we go, here we go. I've said before, that's what I want to do. I want to drive fast and carry a gun, and let's go. So hopefully this Viper doesn't pull over right away. It's what you're thinking, but you're hoping it doesn't go that way. Be like, man, tell everybody I chased a Viper, and well, here's how it went. So I took off, and the lead officer's calling out where he is, so I know exactly where he is. So I go freaking hammering up there, pulling behind him, and my buddy that was with us too, he is right behind me. So we're locked up three in a row. Bang, bang, bang. It's Mope car, or it's the Viper, and then it is my buddy, me, and then another officer that's right there. So I said, "All right, go ahead and light them up." All of our lights come on at the same time, and um, all of our lights come on at the same time. That was I'm a little blurry right here. So it's like a parade, and then the next thing you hear is, and I'm back like this, and I start drifting over the center line. I start drifting over to the center line, and I'm literally watching the taillights go like this. They're getting closer and closer and closer together, and closer and closer and closer, and then they almost disappear. That is how fast that car was. We literally had, it's like this, and then it just ends up going to just like this. Wow. Um, the officer that was behind me, they had a chase car that was with it. So the Viper took off, my buddy took off, I took off, the trail car pulled off over to the side. My buddy, the third car in the parade pulls in behind him, and it turns out that they were just some assistants that were driving along. So this car is hammering, and it was probably taking turns at well over 70 miles an hour, and it would come through, and it would just carve. It would come down and be zoom, and we're like, holy cow! And so it hits the corner, and I'm just like, There's no way in hell we're going to catch that car. So we go down, go around the corner. I come around the corner, and by the time we get straightened out, then we're like, that car is so far ahead. We're like, wow. Fortunately, county jumped in on it, and they laid up spike strips for us, calling out, and they let us know that the vehicle hits the first set of strips and really doesn't slow down, and it hits the second set of strips, and then there's kind of sort of a roadblock. I mean, you can't roadblock in Wisconsin. You have to give them an out, and we were probably giving them the ditch. I wasn't on that end. I was on the chase end. So we roll up there, and the county says they've got him in custody, and we're still like 3 or 4 minutes out. That's how far this car was ahead of us. So we pull up, we get in there, and all 4 of the tires are done, flat on the bottom, flat on the top, wherever they were. So we get the trailer in there because it was a pursuit. Tow company comes out and throws the Viper on there, and you got to be careful because they're only like hell's bells, man, like that far off the ground. That's how low and aerodynamic they are. Take it back. We put it into the evidence bay at the police department, and we go and we start talking to the driver. And this is how the whole story breaks down. A bunch of kids are over in Minnesota. They're walking down. They happen to look in this garage, and the Viper's sitting there. And they're like, all right, we're going to keep an eye on this. And if we come back and the garage door is still open, we're taking that. So 20 minutes later, they come back, and of course, the garage door is open. They hop in there, they push it out, and when they pushed it out, it caught the side of the garage. So there's a big scrape down the side. I didn't see it. We didn't hear about that until later on, until the guy came and picked it up. So they pushed it down, and the guy left the keys in it. It's a $190,000 sports car, and the guy left the keys in it. So they push it out, and then they back it up, and then they push it down the road, get away, and they fire it up. Bang. So you've got one person driving the Viper, one person passenger in the Viper, and then we had 5 other people that were in the trail car. And what they did is they were just driving through, and they would hit different spots, and they talk to each other, say, okay, so-and-so wants a ride now. And they did that all the way back into Wisconsin. When they came upon us, they were on their way over to the east side of Wausau, and what they were going to do is they were going to push this Viper, this $190,000 Viper, into this pond. And we're like, why were you going to do that? They're like, well, we've got this car, and we didn't know what we were going to do with it, if we were just going to leave it, and we're just like, to hell with it. And, one of the guys that was with us says, hey, my mom's got a farm, and we've got a pond in back. Let's go just push it in there, and we'll leave it there. So fortunately, we were able to jump in and stop that before it happened. Talking to the driver, he was just like, I was like, how does that car handle? He's like, you would not believe how well it handles. And I said, how fast were you going when you hit the first set of spike strips? And he's like, probably about 185 miles an hour. I was like, no kidding. And I said, what about the second one? He's like, about 165. And he says, and then it just started grinding. The rim started grinding. He goes, so I just shut it down. He says, there's no way I was going to be able to drive anymore. So I'm going to have to, take what I got coming to me. So he was the only adult. He was 18. Everybody else was juveniles. So he got charged. There was a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old. I believe they got moved up to adult court. The other 3 that were there, they ended up going down to Secure and spending the night down there until their parents could come and get them from Secure. So the lesson on this. Oh wait, before that, they have we've got the car in the traffic or in the bay at the department. My buddy hops in it. He was the one who pulled over and had the kids there. And he fires that thing up, and I am in the OWI room, and he hammers, and it had to have, I think if I remember correctly, it had like 4-inch exhaust coming out of the back. He revved it up so much, my ears started to sting, and through 2 to 3 different walls, almost everything that was in the front office was rattling. That's how much power this car had. We get a hold of the owner. My buddy gets a hold of the owner, and he says, all right, He says, yeah. He goes, I'll come and get it. He says, I've got a crew I'll send out. And we're like, got a crew? What do you mean by that? He goes, well, those idiots, they took the cheaper of my 2 cars. He said, the other Viper that I have in there is worth almost $250,000 and it's a hell of a lot faster. He said, but I leave that for, they do this like, parking lot road rally stuff so they can go through how you can turn and uh, brake and I don't know whatever else they do at those road rally things. So they left that in the garage and they took this car. And he says, yeah, he says when I get the car back, he says I'll just have my crew take everything off the frame all the way down and we'll measure it with lasers and see if there's any damage to it. And we're like, dude, you're doing this with a car? And he's like, yeah. He says I own a .com company. And he says this is just a hobby for me. He says like, yeah, okay, great. So needless to say, the driver gets taken to jail, and the other 2 are, I believe, the 16 and a 17-year-old were taken to jail as well. And then the other kids were, hold for a responsible party or parents or what have you. So the moral of this story is, no matter how fast you think you can drive, you cannot outrun the radio. Have a great day.